Hi, my name is Michael.G, and I have a video for you that was really inspired from watching a video by Sam Vaknin, who is a self-proclaimed narcissist, and he's a pretty colorful guy, very, very smart, and he brought something to my attention in the video, and that is about the hookup culture, and he cites a lot of information on that. And he does a good job in presenting all these studies and everything. However, with that, Sam he considers God foolishness, and so he can only collect the data, but he was not able to put it all together, meaning like the why. And the why comes from the consciousness and having the now of space and time together and being in the now. And that, of course, is through the light, and the light is Christ. So feminism's lust to be a man is responsible for hookup culture and the deadening of the womb. Now, why does feminism promote a tremendous amount of promiscuity with women? It's in all the movies. It's, they use words like empower. So even this whole OnlyFans, actresses that couldn't make any money because of, let's say, this lockdown, all of a sudden they become OnlyFans, and they say how they can empower women to have control over their bodies. And the whole thing of feminism, and I'm going to say it again, is that the woman wants to leave the torso. This is the feminine part of the body. This is the masculine part of the body. The whole thing with feminism is they want to leave their estate and go to the masculine. For them to go to the masculine, they're not set up to endeavor in the realm of relativity. Remember, in my other videos, it'll make a lot more sense. The masculine world is relativity. The feminine world is quantum physics. This is observable, and this is not observable. Somebody even tried to say that it is observable. That's not it. You can only know through probability. So to that guy who thinks they know a little bit about science, they got to read a little bit more. So quantum is also time. Relativity is space. So the masculine attributes, the feminine attributes. The woman, to leave her estate, has to create an upward push to go to the head. So the upward push with feminism, and to have cognitive control over the head, in the head, is they have to deaden the body. They have to make the womb dead. So the hookup culture floods the body with random guys, and I had said this in the other video, and that's before I even knew too much about the hookup culture, because I'm older. I'm not part of that hookup culture. They have to flood the body, flood the womb. The womb is the multiplier of time, and that's when, in 9 months, a little human pops out. But if you want to have control over your body, you have to deaden the body. And in deadening the body, now you can flee to escape. And by deadening the body, you lose emotion, you lose heart, and you become pragmatic. But you can't be the man. You can't. So the hookup culture now is devaluing the feminine, making the feminine practically indispensable. And if you watch that video from Sam Vaknin, he gives you some pretty horrifying figures on the percentage of non-consensual hookups, which end up being classified. You can classify them as rape, but because of the pressure of the media. Now the media is very left-leaning. The media, the music, and the whole feminist movement want to destroy the womb. Now, remember, they go to the feminine to create the destruction, because like in the Bible, the serpent went to who? The serpent went to the woman. That was the weaker part. Cognitive choice of the women is less, because the women are not. They're fueled more by emotion than they are by cognitive reasoning. That's why I don't. You can watch these videos of guys trying to box women in with questions. I'm like, why are you asking her a question? The woman, you can ask her the same question with a few minutes in interaction time in between the question, and she'll give you 10 different answers, because that's not her realm. The woman's realm is not the head. The woman's realm is the body. And when the woman goes to the head, she has to sacrifice the body. And the easiest way to sacrifice the body is to deaden the body. Deaden the feminine. Now, masculine does this as well, too. Because when the man puts when he allows the dead womb to envelop him, he's putting death in his body as well. He's putting death in his body as well. Now, women also that have a lot of men like this might even end up feeling like she's a crocodile down there. And that's because of the energy that she's bringing in, all this masculine. She's bringing too much space into time. Okay? There has to be a balance with space and time, so that there's a balance between space and time, so that there's light. So for the woman, she is putting more space inside of time. Now, some people say, what does this have to do with science? Well, God is God of everything. So, God let us make man in our image. He made the image of man and woman as space and time. Women cannot parallel park compared to men. They are not spatial. Men are stronger in the realm of space. Women are stronger in the realm of time. The woman is a multiplier of time. She is the one that brings forth the children from the womb. So, when time, we live in, all right, let me go into science for a little second. We live in space, time. For us, the most sacred thing is pretty much time when you're in relativity. Because time, there's a beginning and there's an end to our life. So you only have a certain amount of time. So your life is actually a dash. A date in the beginning, date in the back. Space and time has a balance. And why we need that balance in our space and time is so light can travel. Now, I had said this before, that the narcissist, or I'm going to use the narcissist or psychopath, what they do is they create bad behavior. And what bad behavior does is it's similar to putting dark energy or dark matter between the head and the torso. And this parallels the universe. We can see distant, well, let's say this is our universe, or our Milky Way. Which is a Milky Way. And then this is a distant universe. Okay? As more dark matter expands, there will come a point when the light, because remember, the spirit is here, when the light of the spirit cannot travel fast enough over the space so that we could see it. It's called the redshift away. And I actually mentioned this about Lawrence Krauss, that he didn't realize he was just talking about the narcissist and the way the narcissist tries to increase the head size, and it's really leaving the body. And he said that at a time in the future, people can look in the stars and not see this distant universe because the light did not get to us. So since that light did not get to us, we would be alone, ignorant, but dominant. And that is exactly the attributes of the narcissist. So when you hear me talking about space and time or science intertwined with masculine and feminine, it's because everything is relative in size, but it operates the same way. There is the very large, and then there's the very small, and we inhabit here. I think it's 23 orders of magnitude to the 23rd power, x to the 23rd power above, and it's x to the 23rd power below. We are definitely in the center, okay? Isn't that interesting? We are in the center of heaven, in the center of, you could say, in the center of space and time is where we exist. Our sliver of reality is between the very large and the very small. In fact, what they did was if they were to magnify the smallest of smallest that we can get, the size comparison would be the size of the universe, and it would be a tree. That's like the string theory, a tree, the size of a tree. Isn't that funny? So, getting back to this. When space falls into time, you're going to have a black hole. When space falls into time, you're going to have a black hole. We live in space-time. We can live because of this balance in space-time. Now, if the feminine is rising, that means time is rising. So if time rises into space, we're no longer going to be in space-time. We're going to be in time-space. So if we're in time-space, we lose our mobility. We lose our mobility. And that's exactly what's happening in the world right now. When you look at what has to happen for you to use computers and use technology or use feminine energy and promote more feminine energy, you are going to stand still. And you're going to be in time-space. We can go through space, but not through time. So when you're standing still, you can go through time, but not through space. It's a flip. So the feminine, what she's trying to do in feminism is she wants to leave space-time. She wants to go into time-space. She wants to rule. She wants to rise. So she has to kill the dominion of time. So when the woman does this, she loses all her value. As the woman leaves, as space comes into, there's too much masculine hits the feminine, so she can kill this. She devalues herself, and she devalues time. So feminism now is breeding a society that is not going to have a womb. The womb will be dead. Now remember, Eve listened to the serpent, but Adam was supposed to guard that. Adam did not protect. Masculine is not protecting the feminine. He's benefiting for now. He's benefiting a little bit, but not all man is benefiting. And the benefit that man thinks he's having by being able to have access to the feminine because of her ludicrous thinking of letting everybody in is extremely dangerous. Because as she kills this womb, you're going to find that a lot of women are actually having their insides taken out. Like the second there's a problem with the woman in her ovaries or something, they're just taking it right out. And that is just a byproduct of the feminine wanting to kill her estate so she could be in space, so she can have the autonomy of space. This parallels what happens in science as well. She does not want to have dominion over time anymore. Because remember, in the past, the woman would stay home. The woman would stay home. Now she's going out. So she's getting into space. For her to leave her estate, she has to bring more masculine in, kill the womb. She has dominion now. The hookup culture is being fueled by feminine energy. It's being fueled by forcing women, coercing them to have autonomy, and these women are going to be taking a lot of drugs. In fact, if you watch the video with Sam, he says that most of these hookups happen when under the influence of drugs. Even the woman in her young age knows that she... Now look at how this is now. So what does the woman do? Her pressure is to follow feminism and the garbage that they're teaching. So for her to follow feminism, she consumes her head. She knows better. Her head, her masculine, knows that her conscience is still strong. So she doesn't want to make this decision to bring in the hookup. So what does she do? She has to take in alcohol to deaden the head, to deaden her logic, to deaden the boundary. Remember, the boundary is the head. The gatekeeper to your torso, the gatekeeper to this torso or your no is your head. That no is coming up from the torso. However, so that she doesn't feel this judgment, she gets herself alcoholized, so now she is no longer the gatekeeper of her feminine body, and the men will come. And that's how she is going to bring all these guys in there to kill her womb. Her head, the gatekeeper, was not saying no. So she had to get rid of that no. And she did that with alcohol and drugs. Now when you watch Sam's video and this at the same time, it all makes sense. Everything makes sense. The feminine energy is computers. Why? Because computers operate on computers, smartphones, all that stuff. It operates based on probability. And that has to do with quantum physics. The feminine wants to keep you in a stationary position. What would the woman want to do? She wants to keep the man home. You know, that's the whole thing. She wants to keep the children safe. Our society now is trying to keep you safe with everything that's going on with, whatever, the imaginary virus. And you can't just pinpoint one or two technocrats. I'm going to make another video on this too, but let me just touch on this really quick. So, who are the technocrats? The technocrats are the companies like Google, Microsoft, everybody that uses technology. These people that really brought us into the computer era were the disenfranchised men that could not get together with women. So they could not operate in the masculine realm in space. They could not operate in space. They were awkward, socially awkward. These were the people that created the computers. So they're using feminine energy, and the feminine energy now makes you stand still. If you're looking at a computer, you're standing still. The computer looks like it's moving, so it's kind of giving you the perception that you're going through space, but you're not. You're standing still. You're not in motion. The masculine spaces, we have to be in motion. If you do not move your body, you lose the ability to use your arms and legs. You lose all these guys that are really into the computers. They got pencil necks. Pencil necks. The necks are not large. There's not enough energy holding that together in the body. Everything is connected. People think that God has nothing to say. Well, let me tell you something. God is the God of everything, and that includes science. Some of my videos, I talk about how God can just reach out with his hand and slap science. Well, when you understand space and time is masculine and feminine, yeah, you can't deny that God doesn't exist. He is everywhere. So God said, let us make man in our image. Okay? The feminism has always talked about how the Bible is misogynistic, realizing in their mind that you don't have a lot of women's names in the Bible. There's a reason why you don't have a lot of women's names in the Bible. And you have man's name in the Bible. Because the hierarchy is God, man, and woman. That's the hierarchy. Okay? So the women complain, we don't have names in the Bible. Well, guess what? The only name God wants to see is Jesus. That's the only name he wants to see. And what does Jesus say? Salvation of Jehovah. That's the only name. So who is man and woman in relation to Jesus? Both are the bride of Christ. The bride of Christ. The bride of the anointing. That's what Christ is. So we, as a man or as a woman, in God, we lose our names. We lose our identities because the old head has to die so that the new head rises from the Spirit. And that new head is truth. That new head now is Jesus that knows his salvation is of Jehovah. Jehovah is I am. The women want a name. The closest they're going to get is I do. That's why when men and women get married, they say I do. The craziest thing. It's like the will is holding them together. They're already polluting the potential of the marriage or getting together because they're saying I do. No. God is the I am. In fact, you could break everything down in smaller components. So what is I am? I am is God the Father, Jesus, and M is mankind. And mankind is the head, masculine or feminine, born of the Spirit. The old head must die. The woman now is trying to usurp the authority of God. So to do that, they have to kill the womb. And I know this is kind of heavy and it goes like a bit in tangents, but that's what consciousness is. It's not linear. It's like a fog that's going to go out, and as the fog goes out, you start to see clearer and clearer. This is a whole lot bigger than having one 27 or 28-minute conversation. That's why all my videos are intertwined with each other. They're intertwined with space, time. You cannot deny that women physically are not stronger than men. You cannot deny that. Women do not have they do not have dominion over space. Man does. If every man got into a fist fight with every woman, the men would be standing. A few women would be standing, but mostly men. But women also are the ones that have us with the peace. The women bring in the time. The women brings us peace. If you have space without the time, or if you have masculine energy without the feminine energy, the guy's going to work himself to death. He'll have no peace. The woman brings the pleasure in with the man. The woman is the pleasure part of the body. The woman is the rest. Psychopaths and narcissists do not sleep. They have problems sleeping because they do not trust the feminine. They do not trust the feminine. They have a relationship with their body with a lot of distance. So they cannot have peace. They're always in terror. All these guys that you think are really confident that own these big companies, they are in terror. Constant terror. Because they do not have peace in time. They don't have the relationship with time. There's no balance. If there's no balance, there's no light. There's no Christ. Light is truth. There's no truth between the head and their torso. So what they do is they magnify their head. They again, similar to the feminine, they kill the body, but they do it with overt bad behavior. Taking advantage of people. They create an out-of-body relationship with someone who's either going to enable them like a covert narcissist, who is the woman that sacrifices her truth and her time so that she can get his space. I know this is a heavy video, but watch my other videos, come back to this, it'll make more sense. But the hookup culture is based on feminine wanting to usurp the dominion of God. The reason women's names are not in the Bible is because they're covered by Christ or truth. Similarly, man's name is, we take on the persona or the mind of Christ. That's in the Bible. Very easy to find. Anybody needs some references to anything that you hear me say, I can pull them out of the Bible any time. Space and time is masculine and feminine. And it's pretty funny, too, that E equals MC squared. MC squared, right? The C is Christ. It's the speed of light. Energy is mankind times the speed of light squared. Energy. Everything comes back to God. There is no escape. God bless.